Would you rather give up gaming or basketball?
Wow. Wow, this one hard. Wow, that's okay. I will explain why, and this is just my logical and strategic mind coming in already. I will give up.
What's up? What's up? What is up?
And welcome to another episode of the KopiBros Show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now today we interviewed Thomas K. I won't pronounce his full surname because I butchered it the last time we pronounced it. I think it's impossible not to know him lah. He's Thomas K from Hey Thomas, and he produces a lot of funny skits about like playing basketball with your friends or like some of his other things like where he go, his recent collaborations with NBA Singapore.
Honestly, actually, before this podcast, right, I didn't even know that he was like so high level in like his StarCraft journey. Like he's such a esports achiever. Like represent SEA Games, like #1 in Singapore.
What I found very interesting was that he's not just a content creator. Like he also does a lot of back end like writing of scripts. Then he worked for some companies to generate content from them. And I feel that all these things like it really shows how dynamic he is as a person. Like he do back end and front end things, and then he can like he tell you, Brandon, he got 4 notebooks for 4 different content that he manages. And each one he had to think about like what new thing to write. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into the episode. Come to our KopiBros Show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now today we have a very, very incredible and HANNOR guest joining us. Someone who's made his mark in both esports and content creation, known to many as Hey Thomas or Bliss. He's a former StarCraft 2 pro who represented Singapore at the 2019 SEA Games. Beyond the gaming world, he's now a viral content creator known for his hilarious take on Singaporean and basketball culture. Please welcome to the KopiBros Podcast, Thomas. Let me get this right. Kopankiewicz. Shit.
So close. Kopankiewicz.
Kopankiewicz.
Yeah.
Yes,
I got it.
Before we even start, right, I just want to ask Thomas, like your surname, is it Russian, Ukrainian, or like what mix are you?
My surname is Polish, from Poland. So my dad is Polish, my mom is Chinese, like Sichuan Chinese. And then, but I was born in Germany. When I was a kid, I spoke German. I have a German passport. And then at 3 years old, I came to Singapore already. So yeah, then I'm just local already after that.
If you don't feel that you want to share, it's okay. But why did your parents decide to come to Singapore when you were 3 years old?
Yeah, I'm okay to share almost anything lah. So, my parents split up when I was a kid. So my mom went back to China with me, and then she was looking for a job around. And then she's a musician. So she happened to qualify into, I don't know, qualify is probably not the right word, but she auditioned for the Singapore Symphony Orchestra, and then she made it through.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's one of like the top cellists around Asia. She would have clinched that title if not for having me around, so she chose to be a mom more so than her career. Yeah, but my stepdad here as well, he's also in the Singapore Symphony, so he's definitely one of the top flutists in Asia.
I see.
And in the world potentially. So yeah, so both my parents are musicians, and somehow their kid does YouTube. So I don't know what went wrong lah, but there we go.
Well, also a different kind of stage.
Yeah, different creative fields. Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting like your background to be like your mom and your stepdad both are like musicians and it's like that kind of like SSO musician, not like I play the guitar, this kind of musician.
Yeah, I mean, okay lah. got people play the guitar at home also can become singer. CC Banking.
Oh yes.
I hear say he also not bad lah, right?
Hearsay.
Hearsay lah. Yeah.
For yourself, when you were young, did they like sort of like slightly pressure you to pick up like instrument?
It's not slightly, bro. It's not slightly. It's full Asian Chinese parent force you play piano. Like I hated it. Yeah. But I played. I mean, in hindsight, it's good. Yeah. But as a kid, I wasn't a fan lah. As a kid, I tried to break my piano multiple times, but you know how things were made to last back then. So no matter how much you hit that piano, right? Wow, that shit lasted 6-7 years, never spoil one. So it's quite impressive.
It's quite impressive.
I still remember the brand Sharp. Yeah, that shit's impressive. Some electric piano. I mean, I ended up getting my grade 8. And it's like kind of like a safety net lah. They always say it's like if you're too dumb for school, then at least you can teach piano. So,
wow,
that's a very strong safety net though. Actually,
The grade 8, that's a very strong. Not many people can say
grade 8 piano. Yeah.
So once you're grade 8, you can start teaching. That's the reason why you want to hit grade 8. So if you go for diploma, then I think you can do something even more. But at least grade 8, you actually can officially start teaching.
So if I give you a piano now, can you still pick it back up?
Oh yeah. Like if you can give me any piano sheet and I can still play it lah. But I'm not as good as a lot of the like let's say jazz players or bar players where you tell them a song and they can figure out the chords on the spot. Yeah, I'm not that good anymore. I was never really that good, but I'm a practice player. Like you give me a sheet music, you give me 2 weeks at it, I'll be able to play for you whatever the song is, like classical or whatever. Yeah. So I guess actually now talking about it, right? Maybe it's already ingrained in me. Like we're gonna slowly segue into esports, right? The practice regimen is ingrained into me as a child.
So talking about esports, so we normally start our podcast interviews, right, by learning about the story of our guests. So now I think for most of us that we know you from social media videos, but in fact you were actually pursuing two very different careers as either a YouTuber or as an esports athlete. Because at the point of time, YouTube I believe wasn't that popular, so you started off as an esports athlete first?
Yeah, most people thought those two things are at the same time because the mainstream coverage of esports is around the 2017 to 2019 era. That's when esports really started to pick up. But I started playing StarCraft back in like 2013. My first tournament was probably 2014. So esports came first. So the balance of esports was actually against school. So that was a tough part to juggle school and practicing for tournaments.
Training.
So after O levels, right? So we get streaming, and then I was watching a lot of Suits back in the day. So I thought, wow, law was damn cool. So I went to apply for law and management in TP. And yes, law was fun, but the business side of things, I hated it. Yeah. So during that year, the first year when I was at TP was also when I started kind of competing a little bit more heavily in StarCraft. So during my secondary school days was when one of my close friends actually introduced me to StarCraft, and then we started to pick it up. So first year of TP, I think we were actively going for tournaments and whatnot. I have another friend there who was with me, alongside me. We were basically the top 3 players in Singapore lah. So it started from there, and it was a juggle between school and StarCraft. My law subjects were okay. Business side didn't do so well. So my first year's GPA wasn't good. So I actually decided, let me drop out, right? So I dropped out, and then there was I dropped out halfway through the first semester, and then I decided, it was after I went to Tokyo for my first international tournament. I qualified for a Tokyo Game Show for StarCraft. And over there, I just met all these different people from different nationalities. And I just thought wow, this whole kind of environment to deal and talk to different people and share the same joy, share the same passions was so eye-opening, and so it lit a fire in my heart that I knew that this was something that I wanted to do in the future. And that's what led me to go into mass comm instead. So I went to join media and communications for SP, and we appealed and managed to get in to apply and get in for the next year's intake. And that's how I actually transferred courses over. And it was quite cool because what I learned firsthand in gaming in terms of sponsorships, branding yourself, advertising, things like that, naturally just translated over to mass comm. We were talking about balance, right? I didn't even get to that part. The balance of it. SP was the interesting part because in SP, there were times when I had to go for international tournaments like DreamHacks and stuff, and it's the exam period. The lucky thing about mass comm is that it's presentation/project based, which means that there were certain times which I could complete my project 3 weeks before the submission deadline, and I can already submit my work. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was pretty lucky there because as long as they were solo projects, I could actually do that. And so there were, I think, 2 tournaments which I actually submitted my final year, not final year lah, but it was a end of sem assessment 1 month earlier than the submissions were required. But I was a really bad student because I couldn't get to school on time because I was busy gaming, as you can imagine. But and I barely listened in class. So a lot of my teachers were very polarized. Some just really hate me. The others saw great potential in me. And then so my GPA also wasn't that great. But I was a B+ student.
Oh, that's actually
okay.
Yeah, I was
okay.
I think I still graduated 3.3, 3.4 GPA.
That's
okay.
Like, okay lah, but it's not like, hey, my mom is Chinese. You need to understand. So
Okay,
it's
okay,
like
yes,
you
yes,
get
yes.
4 or you don't come home. You know, this is yeah.
In all honesty, right, this career path, right, is actually not something commonly pursued in Singapore. So, as you mentioned, because it's typical Asian parents, right?
Yep.
Was there any pushback from your parents when you wanted to pursue this career path?
Oh yeah, 100%. When we talk about the game itself, it's like I think that there's this creative competitiveness behind the game. Like I wasn't the best. I wouldn't say I'm the most talented person. Like I really don't think I have a lot of talent. But when I have interest in something, I really like to get into it and like really understand it. So like for example for StarCraft, it's like I got in at like the bottom rank. I started off bronze also. But it was so interesting to me, the intricate details, the strategy of it, and I just started to study it, play different strategies, and I watched a lot of tournaments, and I just felt like wow, the impact these players had, these pro gamers had, was so cool. Like to be on that stage and playing games, right? And it was like so inspiring to me that I wanted to be like that, / I wanted to meet them at that level. Part of it is back then, gaming definitely was nothing like it is now. Like if you say like, oh, I want to become a professional gamer, at least your parents like somehow heard of it before. Back then, don't have. Yeah. There's not enough news articles. There's not enough coverage. There's nothing. It was a very foreign concept. And there were very bad situations. Like my mom would say like, oh, you know, you want to play games, but don't play until 2, 3 a.m., that kind of thing. But I would because, you know, whether I have my practice partners in the US or my Korean practice partners are up that late, that kind of thing. And there was once, I think one of the worst times was basically like, it was like 3 o'clock and then she just walked in and she clearly already told me not to practice that long, but I did. She walked in and she just picked up my monitor and just threw it on the floor. Yeah.
Wow.
And then she was like, she was like raging at me, like really felt like I wasn't doing anything with my life. The next day she offered like, oh, to buy me back my monitor, stuff like that. I was like, I don't need, I pay for it myself. Yeah. So it's like, there were those kind of situations. I think poly was the period definitely where I was in that phase where I just feel like I cannot connect with my parents at all. So when I come home, I don't really want to talk to her. I don't update her about my day, and she just sees my, like, you know, I think I was very emotional during that time, you know. I started to go through things like, you know, the ups and downs, you know, anxiety, depressive states, all these kind of like things that teenagers go through. So there's already a divide. And then there's this, and then it just creates a bigger divide, right? And so, there was definitely a lot of tension behind it. I think even until the point where I started like traveling for gaming tournaments and bringing money, I think it's more like they tolerated it than they were really, really supportive of it. They also did cut me off very, very early. So the whole point of like, you know, after I drop off on TP and they're like, you know, what are you doing? You know, now I'm just going to take some time to practice gaming and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, if you're gaming so good, then you support yourself. Then I was like, okay. Then I earn my own pocket money from, you know, weekly cups and stuff like that. It was that whole phase basically.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a lot to go through. Wow, look where you are now.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, first of all, now I would say I'm very, very close to my mom. And I'm very, very close to my mom and my parents. As in, we don't stay together anymore, but I'll write to her, and then every few weeks we actually meet up and then we catch up about life and everything. I think it was after NS when I saw that importance and that rock that your family actually plays in your life. Yeah, even after that, I remember there was one tournament, basically it was the launch of the newer StarCraft, which is Legacy of the Void, basically StarCraft 2, but they have 3 versions. So the last version, when they launched it, there was a tournament held in Singapore. The finals was held in Singapore. So I made it up to the tournament and I actually invited them down to watch the finals. And then I destroyed the guy 4-0. And then, And so like the first people I went up to was like to my parents and I told them like, see, suck it. No, I didn't say that. I just was like, I just went up to them. I was like, we celebrated there. So I was like, it was one of my prouder moments that I could show my parents that, hey, there is something that, you know, came out of all of this that I think it's more of y'all didn't have to worry. Now I can say this because I'm older and I understand, right? But back then it's like, whoa,
no such thing.
Yeah, man, like, you don't understand.
No one understands me.
No one understands me.
Yeah. Tears come down. Moving on to the next part, right? We actually went back and we watched all your earlier videos, right? More specifically, the ones that from the start where we found that you were actually all the way always funny. But we researched and found that during the time when you were producing videos for the Smart Local and Wild Banana, right? You were actually like more on the behind the scenes producer.
Okay, we get there first, then we get to the next question in case I forget. So I think as a kid, I always was the guy who liked to pick up the camera and film something. So if something's happening, so I'm the one in secondary school who has all the dirt on everyone. I have the video footage of them, drawing on the table, fighting with each other. I'm the guy. When something happens, I immediately will take out my camera and film one. There was that habit in me which always wanted to document stories and moments. Yeah, so I think that naturally translated into vlogging. So at TSL, when I first joined them, it was for my school's internship. I actually wanted to join a gaming company, but they didn't have any openings. And so Brian, who is the CEO of the founder of the Smart Local, right? He was actually also a professional gamer before. So I knew him from the StarCraft scene, and he's the guy who actually started the se2c.com, which was back then the core website for the StarCraft community in Southeast Asia. So I knew him from there, and I told him like, hey, if you got an internship position, can I come in for an interview? And he's like, okay. So went in, got through the interview just fine, and then I joined the sales and marketing side. So after going around doing sales and pitch decks and coming up with different campaigns and stuff like that, I was more or less always involved in the ideation process with the video team. And they realized that, actually your ideation not bad. Why don't you just go over to the video team instead and stop doing sales? Because your sales, we are broke and clearly you never sell anything. They didn't say that, but they just moved me over. So when I went over to the video team, then they actually started teaching me how to do videos and stuff like that. So I was in charge of a new segment back then, which was for vlogs. Like it was during the era where Casey Neistat was blowing up and stuff like that. As much as I was learning that there, I also feel like, I don't get to express the kind of things that I'm learning watching like vlogs and stuff like that. So I wanted to create my own stuff. So I went to make my own channel. So that's when my vlogging channel started while I was doing TSL at the same time. So TSL was more corporate for brands and stuff like that. And then I had my own vlogs, which was like the daily vlog channel back then. I guess behind the scenes started first, but very soon after that, in front of the camera thing followed along. So I think actually more people knew me for being in front of the camera than behind. But the job is that if you are, especially from back then, if you are an influencer or on social media in any capacity, you are most likely the one also doing a lot of the back end work, whether it's producing, directing, editing, whatever it is. And for us, it was everything, right? And so fast forward, we go through NS, I vlog, and then NS, there's a lot of up and down. I was an emotional as kid. Today, I still am an emotional person. Then I thought, I get very emo, then I don't want to vlog anymore. And then so I think like, okay, cannot carry on like this because I'm also going to go broke. So I decided, okay, I need to kind of like introduce some regimen into my life, which was when I thought, let me join the company again. Kishan was the one I think who said like, look, What Banana has this opening. Kishan used to watch my vlogs too. So he told me like, What Banana has this opening for a scriptwriter. Why don't you try? Right. And so I did. I went for an interview or so. Someone got through, and I've always liked comedy videos a lot, and I've always wanted to try. And so that was my new venture into trying all that. And so we brought in a lot of flavor, I think a little bit of a catalyst to the channel when me and a few months after Hakao Hang joined as well. So I picked up the ropes there about script writing, directing. I didn't have to edit there, which was a very new thing to me. So I really only had to focus on producing and directing the videos and scripting the videos. And so that was the back end work. I think it started 2023 or 2022. I can't remember. I'm not good with dates. So I left What Banana. I managed to, one of the last projects that I got to work with them on was with a commissioner from Mediacorp. And this guy really liked working with me, and he started to dropship me into other Mediacorp projects. And so now I actually start to produce a lot of Mediacorp social media stuff. So if you guys ever watch like Joakim and Sonia's like skits, right? So those are all done by me and my team lah.
Wow.
So and various other small YouTube projects like YouTube series that they have going on also, I'm behind the scenes. So a lot of people don't know about that part of my work. They see me in front of the camera, but there's still a lot of basically this transferred skill sets but applied for different companies. So I think one of the things that I can do is actually that I write really well for other people also, right? Like for example, how I work with Norbin, like once I filmed with him a few times, I started to understand how his humor is like and what his scripts will look like. And so I can actually script a script for Norbin. I can script a content for Norbin. And that applies to whoever comes to me. Like if I look at the branding that they have and I'm able to script for them well. So producing for TSL, then producing for Banana is totally different. Producing for 987 is different. Writing something with Norbin is very, very different. So that is a skill set in itself also lah. And so that helps with the behind the scenes part. After all this yapping, we haven't even answered the question. The question was, how did that translate over to being in front of the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So editor, if you cut that out, then too bad lah. Yeah. So how does it differ from being in front of the scene? I think being behind the scene takes away a lot of pressure from you. You don't have the pressure to face people. You don't have the pressure to face comments or statistics. In the end, it's about their platform. I posted on their platform. Technically, I can forget about it already. I mean, sure, if you're responsible, you'll still look at whether the views do well and then you figure out how to improve your script and whatnot. When you're front facing, there's a lot of like, you got to look good. You have to, present yourself properly. You have to remember the lines properly. A lot of other pressures that come along with it. But also, if you're in front of camera, well, because I'm a social media person, then of course I script everything also. So there's a lot more, there's a lot more kind of work that has to be put in also. But in other situations is that if you just go down and be a guest, then you don't have to do any extra work as well. So there's pros and cons in both. The biggest difference with being in front of the camera is the consistency. So if you want to build your social media platform, there is this pressure that you have to post every single day. And so I think that's actually the toughest part, to being that consistent and coming out with new ideas every single time and making sure they perform well and building up their brand. And you also don't know when the client comes in and stuff like that. I think that's the biggest difficulty, and that scares a lot of people. So you will see some social media creators come in and hustle at it for 6 months, and after that they just stop because they can't deal with that instability, I feel. Behind the scenes work, you're more or less locked into like a contract. Whether it's for a company, you have your salary. Whether it's for, for Mediacorp, I have a contract. So I just need to deliver once a week. Or for Webinar is same, right? I deliver one script a week, that kind of thing. And it's fine. I have my paycheck every month. And then for social media, I have to do a video every single day. And then I don't even know if I get a paycheck. So I think those are the two differences, right? But then, of course, with social media, you got your freedom. With others, you're always working for others. So whether you can eventually scale it or not is not really up to you. By the way, I think the second half is better. The first half is just delete.
I think the first half can use. You answer a lot of questions that later you were supposed to ask. So I wanted to ask, right, to track back a bit about your gaming career, why do you choose to play StarCraft instead of like Dota or CS at that time?
I would say the start of me trying to do something competitive with gaming was actually in Dota. So Dota 1.
Ooh.
So those were the Garena days where we could jump into like those channels and we would go and like scrim against different schools and then different players. So I've actually played against people like SSI, HY, those kind of players also. So those were before even before the international one lah. Those were the days. For Dota, it's a team game, right? So you need 5 people who have the same amount of dedication, the same amount of passion, the same play style, and the same mindset towards the game. And that is very difficult given our environment of a high pressure educational system and quick, fast moving, fast paced lifestyle and stuff like that. So when my friend introduced me to StarCraft, it was a 1-person game. So your successes and your pressures and your failures all fall on you. So it's on you how fast you want to go, how hard you want to train. But if you fail, all the pressure is on you as well, right? So that's kind of why I went into StarCraft lah. The strategic aspect of it and the intricate details of it was also way more vast than Dota. So I really got into that game quite quick lah.
A lot of our listeners and viewers don't have much insight or understanding about how you become a professional gamer lah. Can you share a bit with us, like how do you end up being an esports pro, and what's the training schedule like?
The first time that I got picked up was basically me and my friends practice. You practice online, whatever. And then we joined this community tournament held by SMU. By the way, this tournament held by SMU, the guy who organized it is currently also one of the co-founders of Secret Lab, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So Yeah, so they go way back. So I know all like your founder of Aftershock, your founder of Secret Lab, we were all StarCraft 2 people. Founder of TSL, StarCraft 2 person. So they were all the StarCraft 2. Yeah, right.
StarCraft.
Yeah, so the network is great, man. Yeah, it's fun. Like again, you see Secret Lab, see? Yeah, PC Aftershock. No. My PC Asus. Oops. So SMU held a community LAN tournament. And so me and my friend joined, pay like $10, we go down, we join. Because the scene is small, you would have your competitive players joining these tournaments as well, as long as there's kind of like a cash prize. So at that point, that was my first LAN tournament, and I managed to beat the top player in Singapore at the time, which was this guy called Revenant. And so that team called me up that weekend and said like, do you want to do a tryout for the team? And so I was like, oh yeah, of course, So we did the tryout. I did fine. I think I won the guy. And then so they asked me to join the team. And then things started to move fast because it's like, now you got a team. And it's the first time they're like, oh, let's do a photo shoot for you. Let me give you a jacket. Let me give you free mouse, keyboard, stuff like that. And then as a, how old was I? So maybe like 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid. That was like, wow, I get free stuff. Like, this is cool. I don't have to pay for stuff. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And then from there, there's more attention towards like, competitions and the scene started to grow a little bit, and then you start to join more and more tournaments, and then you just keep trying to rack in your earnings and winnings. And then the bigger opportunities came when it's like international qualifiers, right? So there was like a Southeast Asia qualifier for Tokyo Game Show. So we would all compete for different qualifier slots to go and compete at various international tournaments. Back then, it was great because you only had to compete within your own country. So Singapore had its own slot for Tokyo Game Show. Singapore had its own slot for, I think the other one, I forgot what it's called, WESG or something like that. Yeah, they were like different things where you only had to play against Singaporeans. The good thing is like you had a higher chance to make it for these international tournaments, right? And then eventually within a year, they changed it, and now you have to compete among Southeast Asia. So because of that, you're also forced to be way better. Yeah. And then once it got to the point where Southeast Asia also merged with Australia and Oceania, so our region is basically New Zealand, Australia, and Southeast Asia, then it gets even tougher. In gaming tournaments, it's basically very unforgiving. You're either top 3 or you just earn nothing. So you could be practicing tons, and if you're not top 2, top 3 in the region, you're basically earning nothing and you're just wasting your life. You might as well just go and work at McDonald's, right? Not saying there's anything wrong with working at McDonald's. Yeah, it's a great place. Yeah, I heard good incentives and whatnot. But so that's the reality of it. That's why I heard this great tip before, which I still say nowadays. Is like people say like, oh, what's your tip if I really want to get into gaming? I'll say like, don't ever get into gaming. Because if you hear these words and you still really, really want to go into gaming and you actually fight through it and you persevere, then that's probably the kind of person you need to be to actually be in gaming. Like everyone will be out there telling you like, that is a joke. And then you still fight against that and you still succeed. That are the kind of people who get through gaming. But that being said, I feel like now there's way more opportunities like with mobile games as well. Like on the go, you can practice so much. It's just a matter of mindset, mentality, and like maybe you could win a tournament, but how long can you stay at the top? Yeah, so there's a lot of these kind of things also. Oh, how much do I practice a day, right? I used to practice about 4 hours a day. I think on average is about that. Then maybe if it's tournament period, then maybe about 6. Yeah, so morning, wake up, practice, study, then eat lunch, do some exercise, and then come back, continue practice. Yeah, so there are days where I go 8 to 10 hours or so. Like the whole day is just practicing. I studied a lot of like mental aspects of it, like psychologically, how do athletes actually improve, get past like your mental barriers, like rehearsing situations that you are there at the tournament itself, so that when you go there, with your raised adrenaline and whatnot, you are still able to perform. Yeah, even in practice, I think there's a lot of intricate details. For example, you don't just play. If you're playing, you're playing. If you're practicing, it's different, right? So for example, I used to have a coach, luckily enough, one of the best Warcraft players in the world called Grubby. He actually I actually met him and he coached me through stuff. And it was like within the first minute of the game, if one of my worker is mining the wrong like goal patch, he will shut off the replay and say, we don't need to watch already. Yeah, because you already screwed up in the first minute. Like, why do I need to care? I'm like, the only difference it creates is like 15 goal after like 3 minutes, Like that's the kind of difference. But I'm like, yeah. So he's like, yeah, we don't need to look at this anymore. You move on. You can't even get that right. So it's this kind of practice regime, or like, there's this thing in StarCraft called supply, right? So it's like every time you build a house, you can have a bit more people within the house kind of thing. So there are times when you forget to build a house, then now you cannot produce anything more because you need to wait until you got more capacity, then you can build. So we would practice games where you specifically cannot have that last more than, so within a 15-minute game, you cannot be supply blocked for more than 15 seconds. So you get supply block more than that, it's like you basically lose the game. So you practice very specific things, and even studying pros, right? It'll be like studying like, okay, 1 minute, what do they have? 2 minute, what do they have? And you compare versus your own gameplay, whether you match that 1-to-1 or you can do it even better. Usually you cannot. Usually it's down to a science really that we figured it out mathematically what is the most efficient way to get through a certain strategy and reach a certain timing with a certain amount of units.
Did it ever come to a point where you don't, because like, you
don't enjoy the game anymore?
Yeah,
right?
you don't enjoy. Yeah, then after that's why most people quit.
So
right?
my best friend at the time, who was also I would say like we were basically top 2 in Singapore back then already. He lost passion in the game. Yeah, he lost because he was the same way. He would measure distances, like run one unit from one end to the map to the other end of the map, and know how long each thing takes. Like he also goes crazy, but yeah, he lost interest. And so after that was my time to fucking shine. Right, I was like, no more number 1. I'ma take the throne. So, but yeah, for real, I think like again, it's like right, the point of like I'm not the most talented, but I just stayed at it the longest. As I was nearing the top already, some people started to fall off, and I just continued that grind, and I eventually became the top player. Singapore, and some say Southeast Asia lah. Southeast Asia, okay lah. Yeah. Here and there, sometimes the Filipino beats me. Yeah. I won, by the way, that 4-0 win in Singapore was against the same guy that I lost to at SEA Games. That's why I was like semi-pissed. But we are like great friends. We are great friends. Yeah. But I was like, walao, I go to his hometown and I lose 4-1. Then over here, I won him 4-0, right? So I was like, yeah.
But that actually leads us to the next question, right? Where we wanted to ask, because you represented Singapore at the 2019 SEA Games as the esports athlete, right? Was that the height of your gaming career?
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, to me, it was just another tournament because the prestige is for mainstream. And I'm not really a person who needs to stand in the limelight kind of thing. I'm more for myself. And so if you look at gaming side, I think my peak of my career was probably those international tournaments, like representing, it's more of myself at Intel Extreme Masters or DreamHacks. So I flew to like Sweden, flew to Spain for DreamHacks, and those were the highlights of my career because I get to meet my teammates, I get to meet other pros at the international level, right? People who I grew up watching. I think my favorite tournament was the one where I qualified. Like I was basically a top player of Southeast Asia, and I went to Taiwan to compete for this international tournament. And that was the first time I met my favorite player of all time at this tournament. And we became friends after that. It was like crazy. Yeah, I even went clubbing with him. It was mad.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. We were making out with girls and no, I'm kidding. But
very true.
We're chill. Yeah. But yeah, so I think when you meet your heroes at the level, like there is seeing them and taking a picture, but there is building to that level to meet them at their level. That is probably one of the most satisfying feelings you can have as a fan, turning into someone who's more or less made it to a certain degree in an industry. I think that is really, really cool. Yeah. People, it's like, imagine you watch Usain Bolt and you just think that is crazy. And one day you might not win against him, but you run the same event and you're standing right beside him and you have to race against him. That is crazy. And you shake his hand after that saying like, hey, good game. Like that is a crazy ass journey to have as any kind of like creative or athlete. Right. Yeah. And so, back to the question of Southeast SEA Games, right? I think that was more of, I was already retired at that point actually. I was done. But someone came to me with the rumor saying that we know that SEA Games is happening at the end of the year and we need you to play. Right? This was not a government person, it was an organization. And I told him like, thank you, because I had no freaking idea. I just came out of NS. And so I had to change my passport. That was the first thing. Because I was still a German citizen, but I was a Singaporean PR. I still finished NS already, but I was still a PR. And so we had to work on that fast. And then I started getting back into practice because that organization was around for very long. It's basically RSG. They're still around. And they basically knew that if I don't join, there's a chance which Singapore doesn't come back with a medal, right? If I join, I will 100% get a medal. It's just which color. So we started practicing, and I also thought that was a very important tournament for me to join because if I do end up on a podium, I become a spokesperson for the industry, which that's why everyone knows me as this esports person now. It's because of SEA Games, right? And they come to me because of SEA Games. They ask me for panels because of SEA Games, and that's the introduction already. Because if not for that, a lot of people don't know this element because there are so many more new amazing players nowadays, right? We got our Paper X, like players. We got Ice, all these players. But I would say I'm the person who's like the middle of everything. I'm on social media. I'm in gaming. I can talk words without trolling on camera. So I wanted to be that person to push the right message for gaming along, whether it's healthy gaming, whether it's how to do things right in esports, what even is esports compared to gaming, things like that. I wanted to be that person where if they needed to find someone to talk to, they could get me. Yeah, so we went to SEA Games. Eventually, I didn't get gold, so we basically cash out with 0.
But
good journey to have.
Still good. Yeah, it's still
but still good.
Still good. Who can complain?
Can't complain.
Can't complain.
So in that case, right, I think that leads us to our next question, which is you decided to retire in 2022, right? Like, what was the reason behind that retirement? Like, you want to pivot to be a social media content creator?
Yeah, it was definitely earlier. So 2019 was SEA Games. Once SEA Games ended and I lost that one, I was like, wow, fire lit under me. I was like, from the messages that came in and the kind of attention, and like the fire that I knew that I could still compete at this level and be even better, was something that I was like, okay, maybe I should still continue, right? And so in January, there was a invitational in Australia, which they asked me down. It was held in this like basically a chalet, a 2-floor chalet. So they held the tournament there, and we had American players down also. I was a top performing player in the whole region. So I beat out all the Australians, the Southeast Asian players, and I actually beat the Americans who came down as well. But I ended up being third. And so that tournament, there was a huge emotional arc throughout that also, because I had pressures from my girlfriend at the time. I had pressures from work at the time that basically because the tournament was slightly delayed. So I picked a flight where I take that flight and I can still make it for work on Monday. But it was Sunday and I didn't expect myself to make it that far, but I did. So it was the match where I was playing to play into the finals. So if I lose that game, I'm out. But if I even play that game, right, I will miss my flight, right? So I was making a decision whether I play that game or not. If I play that game, I miss my flight. And if I lose, no point, right? And if I win, I make it into the finals and I can potentially win the whole thing. And I won against both of the players during one or another point of the tournament. I actually won against them once, and then the other player I lost like marginally. So I was like, wow, there is a good chance which I can win this like semi-international invitational tournament. And so there was a pressure because the next day there was an important kind of occasion with my girlfriend, and she was pressuring me at the time, like, you always do this, you always focus on blah, blah, blah. There was this whole thing. Then also like I had to take a last minute like leave from work, which I already feel like is a little bit irresponsible because like, I for SEA Games, there was a big hoo-ha because I bought leave from my colleagues to practice more. So we actually had this system in the company. It was actually kind of funny, but I abused it a bit. Actually, I didn't abuse it. I bought leave from someone at a fair price. Someone else wanted to buy leave from me because I have extra leaves now, right? Yeah. And I told them I will sell you, but at a higher price. And then my boss was like, you cannot do trading here at a company. I was like, what? Fair game, no? And so after that, she like abolished the system. So I was like, it was kind of my fault, but it was funny. But so there was that whole hoo-ha. Right after that, I'm trying to get more leaves. Like I'm trying to apply leave again. So it was like, there's a lot of pressure from everywhere. And I really started to question myself, like, how hard should I be fighting for my passion? How hard should I be selfish for the things that I want to chase and things like that? And I decided to do it. I decided to play. And I lost. I lost 3-1. And so I went up to the roof of the chalet and I cry. And then my friend who introduced me to StarCraft, he moved to Australia and he actually came down to support me for the tournament. And then he came out the roof and then he spoke to me. He was like, it's I can't remember the exact words, but there's somewhere on my Instagram story somewhere. It was something along the lines of basically it takes a lot of courage to chase passion the way you do. So you should never kind of like give that up, and you should never like blame yourself for choosing passion every time. And I was like, wow, that really spoke to me. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure. So that was a tournament again, which lit another passionate fire under my heart. And then COVID hit. And so all that practice and build up into 2 years of not being able to travel and compete, then basically destroyed everything. And so from then, I just focused on YouTube instead. So actually a bit anticlimactic. Actually, the story is COVID, but then this story with the a bit cool. Now you're like, I throw you on a... Yeah.
I think most people know you as a content creator more than they know your esports profile.
Yeah,
so I wanted to ask you, like, how do you think the short, because now a lot of your Instagram accounts I saw is a lot of shorts. So how do you think these short videos or like less than 1 minute, how did it change the whole social media landscape?
Oh wow. I was basically writing this down that I will probably make a video about it. Sorry, I just ate, right? So I'm like reflux a bit. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I was actually just writing this down a few days ago that I think the biggest change is how storytelling has changed. Right? We used to have simple storytelling, looks like a mountain. You start and you get to a climax and you come down. But now your storytelling is focused on just this peak, actually. Because you only have 1 minute. So essentially you don't need anything else other than this peak. So you go into a video and at the start, you're already at the peak. You need to have a strong ass hook. That's the peak. And then you come down a little bit and the next moment you need to have another peak. And then you kind of need to stay at that peak and then you can drop a little bit and then it ends off. So that's something that you had to adapt. I think also because of how accessible content is nowadays in terms of finding new creators through the algorithm, it makes it way more competitive in carving out a niche for yourself. Like for me, I used to be a vlogger, right? It's like, wow, anything I want to do, I just do. And nobody was doing it. Like that's the other thing. I was the only daily vlogger at the time. So it's like, what other options do you have when your YouTubers aren't uploading? Okay, let's see this Ang Mo looking guy like talk about his life. So like, there's no choice, right? You don't want to watch TV, you watch me, And so like that was easier because even though I possibly wasn't the most interesting guy, like people still kind of watched because I'm covering whatever is out there. And now it's like there's so much options. YouTube's become crazy difficult to grow. Right. Yeah. In fact, I feel like I'm totally out of touch with how we're gonna grow a YouTube program that I feel like I need to go back into it because my job requires it sometimes, and I'm like, I don't feel like I have the instincts with what's a good YouTube video anymore. Because I watch a lot of the YouTube video nowadays, and I also don't really like it. Like, sure, I see the iShow speeds, I see like so now Mr. Beast, right? For example, it's like I can't fully get into that kind of videos actually. Like I can appreciate the storytelling part of it and how they structure it and the producing, but I don't like the videos. I don't like how it's intrinsically motivated by just money values or shock factor and like where is the human aspect of things, right? Like I feel like we lose a lot of that. So becomes hard to figure out how YouTube grows. And so when I quit Wild Banana, it's a question of like, do you still want to continue YouTube, or do you with Instagram and short form, you basically have a hack. You upload every single day, you create a format for yourself, and you stick to that same format day in, day out, and you're gonna grow. Like, you're almost guaranteed you're gonna grow until like, 20, 30K followers, like for sure. So we grind at that, and so here we are. Like, it kind of worked. Growth, you want quick growth, you go for shorts, right? Look at all the people who get their silver plugs and their golden plugs now. It's all through YouTube shorts. Like, they didn't even have to grind as hard on long form anymore. Like, bro,
they have to edit a whole day vlogs.
Exactly. My daily vlog was go through the day, come home, edit 3 hours, upload. Go through the day, come home, edit 3 hours, upload. Now is I go down, film with Norbin for 3 hours. We have 10 videos up and ready for the whole next 2 weeks. So it's like the difference is insane, right? So it made sense to go into short form. And when clients started to move over to short form as well, then it just became way more sustainable also.
Do you still find yourself enjoying filming all this short content, or like do you think that now it's just something you have to do because of how content is being consumed?
Oh, I like that question a lot. I think the pain came when I was supposed to start it. Because, when TikTok first came around, I think a lot of us creators were like, what is this? Short form's not gonna take over. And then there's just a whole bunch of people like dancing. Like, come on, like that's not gonna take over the industry. And then so when TikTok actually started to pick up, then we're like, oh shit. But I was like, at that point, I was also like damn burnt out. So I was trying to find a way to approach content and social media differently again. So it was about me figuring out, why did I even want to start YouTube in the first place? Why did I even want to choose this career in the first place? So came this philosophical concept of mine of basically creating a compass for yourself, right? And so I knew that I created YouTube videos because I wanted to tell people stories. I wanted to connect people. I really enjoyed my favorite parts about creating content was that you could collab with so many different peoples and hear from so many different perspectives. And then the other one was basically creating new experiences and new kind of content consistently, right? Combining all of that together, it basically made me understand why I wanted to create content. And so when I approached TikTok, when I started a TikTok account, I was like, then what content should I start making, right? And so the most sustainable thing at that point, which is also the tip that I give people who are getting into content at first, is find the most consistent, most sustainable piece of content in your life. For me, it was every day I play basketball. Every other day I'm playing basketball. So, which means that I put a camera there. I just film myself playing basketball. I wanted to get better anyways. I wanted to feel good about myself playing basketball. So I edited highlight reels of myself. Those started to pick up. And so I realized like, oh, I guess this works. I was also still in Wabanana at the time. And then Norbin's TikTok blew up from all his various crazy trends, right? One of the times I was basically just telling Norbin like, hey, why don't we try to film like skits about basketball? Like we see American creators doing it and there's no one doing it in Singapore in our context, right? And there's like so many funny situations about basketball. And the thing is, like, we wanted to make it a way where whether you play basketball or not, it didn't matter, that you could still watch and enjoy it. And you could relate to various characters in your life who are kind of like that. So we started, and the first 2 videos, I think one of them went viral. I think it was like we put like a Rule Sama standee somewhere far away watching us play basketball. Then we Caesar Paper Stone. And then like, okay, I get to defeat you so that she like you, that kind of thing. And then that went viral. And then we thought like, oh, maybe we can keep doing this. So that collaboration between me and him like started to grow. I learned a lot from basically how he makes his videos, how he expresses in his videos. And I felt like the value add I had for him was structuring his videos a little bit and like adding a little bit of like fun punchlines here and there also. So like certain parts of his scripts, like here and there, will actually be like, you know, my little lines lah. For example, when he did his whole like during the election period, he has his own GRC thing. So I was the person who told him like, bro, you need to be like Orchard Plaza, you need to be like Jakim GRC, this kind of thing, right? And then we punch it. So I'll add in like little punchlines to fit him, and I think that elevates the content also. Yeah. So and he's naturally like the funniest person out there already. Like just his expressions on video is like crazy. So yeah, so it kind of worked, and we have this like new working relationship. We are friends lah. We are friends more than working relationships. But so the question is, do I still enjoy, or is it stressful to make short form content? Like, do I have to conform? No, I think we adapted. We have to adapt with the times. That is how us as creators work. If there is a new platform that requires us to be shirtless, then we will have to do shirtless content one. And so I love content wholeheartedly. I love telling stories. I love sharing things with people and trying to impact people as much as I can. And so that stays true with whatever platform or place that I go to. And so I even told Norbin this before, and we both agree, right? It's like, if we somehow hit Toto and we strike it big, I think we're still going back to the same basketball court and filming the same stupid ass videos, like, because we just love doing it. Yeah, whether we are rich or not, I think we're still going to be doing those kind of things.
But actually, because for the fact that you do so many different skits, right, and you plan for so many different people, right, you continuously have to think about all these different script ideas all the time. So how do you actually like put like what you think into like the film, you know?
I would easily say that the brain is my favorite. Wait, I rephrase that. My brain is my second favorite muscle that I like to move. So yeah, I'll leave interpretation up to the viewers. And then so I actually don't mind thinking of ideas again and again, but the thing was that if I focus on one type of ideation, I get very tired. So for example, if I only had to ideate for one banana, I will be like very sian and burnt out very easily. But if I have to think for what banana bit, then suddenly I have to think for my own content. Then I have to think for someone else's content. Then I feel like I'm always like bouncing between things, and it's very dynamic.
Okay.
And my brain starts to get ideas from different places all the time, again and again. And so it becomes a habit. Like this content creation thing is really a habit. Like now when I talk to friends, if they say something that I'm like, holy shit, that is very quotable, I'm writing it down on a notepad. Yeah. So I literally have like 4 different notepads on my phone where it's like basketball ideas, TikTok ideas, basketball ideas too, and then like, you know, a mini series which I want to do about dating. And it's all the different quotes from friends with their dating problems and their dating advice all into a big document. Whenever I get an idea, I write it down. And you usually get ideas at the weirdest spaces, like you could be taking a dump or bathing halfway, right? Or on the train somewhere. Faster go and write it down because you lose that so fast. That habit when you're looking around and your brain is almost trained to find funny moments, then it becomes very natural. Yeah. So that's the whole point. Like it doesn't feel like work necessarily. It just almost feels like an appreciation of life. Because you're just there like, oh my god, this is a moment. Oh my god, this is so great. Oh my god, it's
just
funny.
writing it down, just acting it out. Oh, that's really very good. So actually now this segment of the podcast, right, is actually more for us to geek out over your basketball. Because it's well known that you are someone that does a lot of basketball content. We just want to ask, were you always a basketball mega fan?
Oh,
of course,
yes.
We need to know which team do you support.
Yeah. So this was cool because when I saw this question, it really made me think about my younger days. I didn't pick it up in primary school. I didn't play it in primary school. Primary school, I was more table tennis. But in secondary school, I picked up basketball and I loved basketball. Yeah. And when I go back and visit my family in China, wow, they sent me to, you know, train with like the sports school because we live right beside a sports school. So my grandma would know sports school people and she would like plug one of the, you know how China is like very favor driven also. So apparently everyone in the kampong owes my grandma favors. Like I don't know why, but everyone just like, so she's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this boy from the sports school to teach you how to play basketball. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, so we would train there. I'll buy like Kobe Bryant CDs. And like, yeah, so I was a Lakers fan when I was a kid. But I didn't watch too much of the NBA. I remember watching one of the Lakers Celtics finals back in maybe 2004, something early 2000.
8 or 10.
Wait. Lakers versus Celtics 2000 finals. When was that?
8 and 10 lah.
8 and 10, right? 2000 they also had one. So probably 2008 or 2010, either one. But Derek Fisher scored one of the very important threes. I just remember that shit. But Kobe was still playing lah. So back then I was a Lakers fan because everyone just studied Kobe Bryant, right? But so it was in Sec 3 when basically, through secondary school I was the shortest kid around. So until Sec 3, also during June holidays when that's the peak of the practicing for CCAs and stuff like that, right? I always had to go back to China to visit family. And then December I traveled back to Germany to visit family. So I could never join these like school trainings. And so I also wasn't the best at basketball lah. Like I could shoot the ball, but other than that, I was like skinny. I couldn't do anything else well. So I kind of gave up on that. So Sec 3, I stopped. And I joined a slacking CCA, which back then for me was track and field. And then, so I totally stopped playing basketball until my last year in NS, when we had the inter-school kind of sports day. And so in my company, we had a slingers player. And that slingers player said like, okay, we form a team. Yeah. And then, but he benched. He bench player. Then so we formed the team and basically practicing for the sports day was like really, really fun. And we were watching like the finals at the time and we started, he got me back into NBA, watching NBA again. And the finals at the time was Warriors. And so watching the Warriors play basketball was the most fun I've ever seen any team play, and watching how Steph Curry plays. When someone is that great at something, it becomes a form of art. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
So watching how Steph Curry shoot the 3 ball, it's not even like scoring a 3 anymore. It just looks artistic. It just looks like an art form. Like, how can something be that beautiful when it's done, right? I'm very gay for him, so nothing to hide here. I'm perfectly fine. So I really became a big fan of the Warriors system, and that, they actually won that one. I think that was the one with KD, which they won. So I watched that, and then after that, I just followed Warriors all the way already, and I became one of the biggest Curry fans, man. Like I will watch the game, then I'll watch his highlights, then I'll watch the game highlights one time. Like it's 3 times every single game. And I'll watch all his interviews and just like, I think beyond the game also, it's like, he's like the nicest guy. Leads by example.
Person,
yeah, like his leadership skills and like, I think a lot of people would feedback to me when I was younger that I was very cocky. Whether it's in poly, like the way I talk, the way I tell people my opinions, like it's very cocky, it's very arrogant. And so I would eventually start to mature a little bit. Even in TSL, like I had a lot of colleagues tell me like, you were this like guy who just like very cocky and, always think you are right, that kind of thing. And I'll try to break things down of trying to figure out like, what is it about me? How can I kind of, break that down and become humble and become a little bit more charismatic, just improve myself as a person. Curry is another one of those which I heavily like looked at to see like, what is it about him that made him so charismatic? What is it about him that emanated such kindness and inspiration towards the world, right? And looking at all the things he does, I think, it really inspired a lot of my thinking towards the way of life and also just me as a person. So that's why I'm like a Warriors fan till I die. Well, until Curry retires, let's be honest. So I mean, start of the year, it was start of this year. I actually paid, I think it's almost like 12K SGD to sit courtside to watch him play. Yeah.
Wow, that must be an amazing experience. I saw the video actually. I saw the
Curry, and it's Curry and LeBron lah. So I mean, they lost, but whatever. Yeah, you could see the first quarter, right? There was one where he shot like a 3. Like first quarter, he played amazing. He shot a 3, it went in. I stand up, I was like, yeah! And then I could see myself in the highlights, right, at the bottom right. Like you see this guy. I know that's a cardigan I'm wearing. And I stand up doing this. So I was like, wow, that's imprint. Yeah, digital imprint. Let's go.
But I know that our producer is a Celtics fan lah, and he's very sour that in 2022 they lost to the
you cannot
Warriors,
spell you cannot spell Celtics without being xiao. But 2022, I don't even blame them. They were definitely the better team. They had such a good roster, but Curry happened, man, and they just got destroyed.
Yeah,
like
he was just unreal.
They were not supposed to win, and Curry just coming back and just destroying every single game that they had. So and then now it's unfortunate lah. But Celtics is cool. Shout outs to your producer. I recently saw Derek White at the NBA Rising Stars Invitational, so he was down here, so I saw him.
Was he still bald?
I think he's forever bald, man. I don't think hair is growing out of that head anytime in the rest of his life. So but he's a very awkward and shy guy. You ask for a picture, he's very evasive and conservative almost. It's
because
pretty cool.
Because my own favorite video from you is that you got to interview Tyrese Maxey. Then you got to get him to try chicken rice.
So we wanted to get chicken rice to him. Tyrese Maxey is so nice. Meeting him made me a fan of him as well. Like he really takes time for every single fan as much as he can, and is super nice to every single media that he meets. Like it's nice to see someone who is that down to earth, like for real. Like you always expect the worst when you deal with celebrities. But he was like the nicest dude. Like made me a fan for sure. Yeah.
Do you think like your passion for basketball is one of the reasons why you can create like such funny content about basketball all the time?
100%. One of the biggest factor behind content is always relatability. And I think whether or not it relates to the audience is actually secondary. It has to heavily relate to you. So if you watch a video and you go like, wow, this speaks to me heavily, there is a very good chance that there are a lot of people out there who are exactly like you, that when you put it out there, they're going to share it. They're going to share the same emotions and they're going to feel the same thing that you do towards your video. And this applies to whatever kind of video you make, right? Whether it's a comedy video and you laugh at it and you go like, wow, this is so funny. There will be someone out there who will find this funny. It is not just an internal joke as long as you contextualize it properly. And so the start of all these basketball skits is in fact inspired, and in fact content in general, a lot of it is just inspired off of our daily lives, where it's people we've dealt with before, people we've faced, and this kind of different moments actually is shared internationally, the word is probably universally with a lot of people, right? And so that shared passion is what connects us through content. So basketball, definitely it. And then at this point, I think it's like, in terms of just consistency and numbers, I'm probably the biggest basketball creator in Singapore already. Again, it's because there's no one else, right? So but we have a lot of rising stars. Like for example, Own Your Court is huge on doing community programs and stuff like that. We got Ben Tangs, we got God knows who else. As someone who is getting this kind of traction with basketball content, then it comes the question of like, what else can I do to give back to the community? What else can we build out of this? And so my 4v4 tournament is, for example, one of the things. So which got delayed for a month because I couldn't find a location. So ideally, the next time is actually going to be August 16, 17, which I'm going to try to rehost it. It's hard for regular tournaments to actually get sign-up numbers. But for me, within a week, we had 330 people sign up already.
Wow.
And so I was over-registered. And so I had to get a good, I had to get a good location, which I couldn't. We couldn't get it going with Sports SG in time. So, but yeah, this 4v4 tournament will be the first one. And from there, hopefully we can do even more events, to continuously engage and give back to the community for events or for fun pop-ups or for 1v1s against me and give away shoes and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we grow the scene together, essentially. When this one not really related, but I thought it's an interesting concept. It's actually mentioned by the YouTube CEO, which is when we look at a lot of problems in life, like instead of thinking of how much of the pie we can eat, their mindset is always how can we grow the pie. And so I was like, I didn't understand this concept until I started trying to apply it to every single one of my, let's say, business ventures or careers and stuff like that, right? Which was like, for example, with basketball, created opportunities to make a lot of more content creators. Like if I make a basketball competition, I'm going to lose like maybe 10K trying to create this competition. But out of this competition, everyone can come down and join. People can make content about it. Now you create a platform for sponsors to come in as well. And so out of this one part where you lose 10K, maybe you get some sponsors, you get more content. And then more investors look at it and go like, wow, Singapore's basketball seem like booming. And then now even more people come in. So you are essentially growing the pie again and again and again. So when we look at situations like this, right, you are never, or you lose a lot of that competitiveness or jealousness against your peers within the same industry. But you start to think like, how can I create more opportunities for one another to thrive again and again? And so I think with this kind of concept, it makes it very fun to continuously pursue something and to give back. Wow, you see the bottle cap clap for me. So it's this kind of mindset. It's this kind of mindset that I think really helps now that I'm in a place where I'm a little bit more stable in my career and I can be in a position to do that.
Before we wrap up, right, Thomas, we'd actually like to play a round of quick fire questions with you. Very quick, just one.
Okay.
The first thing that comes to my mind.
Okay. Wow, that's not good. Yeah, I'm not a quick thinker, by the way, but I'll do my best.
Don't worry. If we take longer, then we just kind of
Okay.
No. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Coolest person you have got through social media?
Don't necessarily have to be friends, right? Okay, now it's still Casey Neistat. I took a selfie with Casey Neistat. Yeah, because that was the first hero that I ever wanted to pursue YouTube with, and yeah, I met him, and that was the coolest.
StarCraft or Dota?
StarCraft.
Was there any?
My first love.
Yeah. I believe so, because Dota.
Yeah. I love Dota, but dying also already. Dying. Yeah. What the hell are we watching now, Valorant?
Make it too hard. I don't understand why. Dota 1 was fun.
What is change the maps? All this? What the hell?
Yeah. What was some random middle shrine or bounty? No time for that. Was there any video ideas you had that was too out of line that you didn't pursue making it?
How to say? If it's too out of line, I wouldn't pursue making it in the first place. We just delete the idea. But there were ideas where we film already, and then watching it back is a bit much that we didn't upload. Yeah, there was stuff like that. For example, one that's still in my drafts is like, we filmed with one of our Malay friends, but we stereotype the Malay friend into like, for example, he basically plays basketball, but with like his he only plays basketball, but as football. So like, for example, he will kick the ball, this kind of thing, only shoot from the corner, all this kind of thing. And being with, but it's fine. I don't mind this because perhaps one day I might still upload, right? But it's when we film with Norbin, there's this thing where we always talk about how like, old school comedians like will always push that line. And now with social media, people are all afraid. And so to him, it's like, even if we look at like Simon Boy, Luki Chan, all these people, like they start to work with government more and more, so they start to self-censor a little bit more. Norbin's whole point is that no matter what, I want to be this like, guy who's just raw, like that people can still come back for this kind of content. I'm like, yo, great. You do that. I would like to work with the government. So Yeah, so I mean, I think the edgiest content which has gone out so far was like we filmed with one of our friends who's South American, and is this thing which he's called Brother Nick, now known to the internet. So there was this video, it's like, 你是叫发哥，你是叫什么福哥。
OK，
然后他呢，他的名字叫 Nick， then
Nick.
I cannot say. Yeah, I think that is by far probably the worst content that we put out lah, and it still got picked up well. And I think the thing is also we always get consent and we kind of check in with our friend who's filming it whether this is even okay. But even sometimes when they say it's okay, I'm more sensitive and I go like, bro, I don't think this should fly lah. Yeah. So sometimes I will. Yeah. Yeah, that was a long answer, but it's funny. It's funny. I thought
because friends will always think it's funny. Then they will also support you. You know the community behind them.
I'm like, you all don't get cancelled one. We do.
Cannot be like after you get cancelled. Hey, my friend say okay one. Actually,
correct. Like we've actually there are nuances around this. So for example, I've told my friend like, because I had another black friend who was telling me like, this is fine, and I'm like, it is fine if you post it. I posted it.
Yes.
Now it's not fine. Even though even though I could have written the script, but as long as you post it, suddenly it's okay. You know? So it has to come out of you. Yeah. So we've had these kind of nuances on social media before, so it's kind of interesting. I
think this question is quite hard. Would you rather give up gaming or basketball?
Wow. Wow. This one hard. This one hard. Wow, my first
love.
Wow, that's okay. I will explain why, and this is just my logical and strategic mind coming in already. I will give up basketball.
Okay.
Because, well, one is when you say give up gaming, it's like you saying giving up sports. So I lose every single game out there. Yeah, and gaming to me is another platform that just connects so many people together. And I'm in the process of building another big gaming platform for people to come in. I'm trying to build another big pie. Okay.
Wow.
I really, really love gaming, even though nowadays I have barely any time. Like maybe in a month I get like 3 hours to play or something. So it's sad, but if I lost basketball, I would just go into another sport. I love a lot of different sports. So I'm generally active, but basketball has this beautiful balance in everything also. So correct. That's why I choose basketball. Like everybody already like Man U, like Liverpool, like whatever. Like I don't want to be part of that. No, thank you.
Golden State instead.
Golden State.
Michael Jordan or LeBron?
Wow, I watched LeBron, so I would say, I wanted to say LeBron, but Michael Jordan's aura is way higher. Let's be honest. I'm sorry. I will pick Michael Jordan. But if someone asks me who's the greatest of all time, I actually would say LeBron. And my reason is that he's done it at this high level consistently for the longest time.
Yeah, but
So if you, it's the same as like, who's the greatest StarCraft player of all time now in Singapore? It's me. And it might not be, like, I might not be the best player compared to someone else at a certain era. But just because I was resilient and I played through all the eras and I was still at the top, hence I probably would be the greatest StarCraft 2 player in Singapore of all time, right? And so that's why I also tip my hat off to LeBron, because he's at bro, he's like 40, he's Norbin's age. Like, okay,
he's almost 40.
But and he's still like dunking and having that kind of stats, like that's crazy. So
he's playing with his son.
The fact that he's on the same team as the son.
That's and actually ridiculous.
Some might argue that he's actually the better player.
Some
ball is round lah,
It was such an awesome episode, and we got to learn a lot about you and the person behind the skits and everything lah. But before we go, Thomas, do you mind sharing with our audience where they can find you?
Most places, Hey Thomas K. So on TikTok, Instagram, it's Hey Thomas K. I don't do YouTube anymore, so you can ignore that. Where else? Actually, the most two important platforms are there. Like, you get updated on everything through there. Yeah. So go and support the Joking and Sonia skits on 987 also. Yeah. If that does well, I will continue adding fish to my cai fan. So yeah.
Wow, that is such an apt description, man. Okay, so once again, Thomas, thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Yes,
I don't know how to do the HANNOR and then...
HANNOR. No, it's for me to reply to you. Yeah, HANNOR.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.